Hi, movie story recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a 2010 American film called Legion. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The film begins at nighttime, and we see a man fall from very high, landing in a back alley somewhere in Los Angeles. The fallen man is the angel Michael. Soon after arrival, Michael takes out a large knife and cuts off his own wings, causing a blue halo to close around him, and removing a large metal collar from around his neck. He is presumably mortal now, and no longer taking orders from heaven. Inside, a security guard is patrolling the premises when Michael crashes through the glass ceiling, knocking him out and stealing his clothes. He then grabs a medkit and stitches up the wounds from where his wings were removed. In the meantime, two cops are on patrol in their squad car and discuss how bad things have gotten. Then suddenly there is a massive explosion in front of them and out comes Michael from the warehouse, carrying the two large duffel bags of firearms. The cops try to arrest him, but he gets one of them in an arm lock, while pointing a gun at the other. Suddenly, the lights flickering on and off, and the cop pointing the gun at Michael starts to shake violently. Once the cop stops shaking, he has noticeably different black eyes and possessing a mouth full of pointy shark-like teeth. The possessed man shoots the other cop, asks what Michael is doing, as his intervention on Earth is violating his orders. Michael says that he is following his own orders now and shoots the possessed cop, then leaves. Meanwhile, in the Mojave Desert, at a small desert diner gas station where a bunch of locals work, including Charlie, an unwed pregnant single mother working as a waitress. Charlie speaks to one of her co-workers' friend, Jeep, and it's evident that he has feelings for her, and wants to take care of her and the baby, even though she doesn't seem to return his affections. Inside the diner, Jeep's father Bob Hanson is trying to fix an old 60s-era TV by slapping at it. Percy Walker teases him about getting a new one. A married couple, Howard and Sandra Anderson, and their daughter Audrey are stuck at the diner, waiting for their car to be fixed. At the diner, Sandra is complaining from how long the repairs are taking, and gets Howard to talk to Bob. Bob tells him that it shouldn't be long, and goes to check on his son. In the garage, Bob finds Jeep cleaning up an old crib instead of fixing the car and reprimands him for it. Jeep says that he knows that Charlie doesn't love him, but believes that taking care of her and the baby is something that he just has to do. Currently out in the desert, a man by the name of Kyle Williams is driving along the interstate, but has become lost, and ends up at the diner. There, he meets Charlie, making small talk and getting a cigarette off of her. A few moments later, they go inside and Charlie gets back to work while Kyle looks for a phone since his cell phone has stopped working. Kyle gets on the phone with his ex-wife and they are apparently in a custody battle over his son. However, before he can say more, the phone stops working. Jeep enters the diner as well to tell Bob that the car he was supposed to work on is too advanced and they don't have the equipment to fix it. Jeep suggests having the car towed to the next town over, but Kyle returns from the phone and says that he was cut off mid-sentence and that the phones are now dead. Around this time, the TV stops working too. After a bit of hitting, the TV jumps to the emergency broadcast signal. Percy tries the radio, but gets the same signal. A few moments later, a car stops at the front, and out comes a little old lady on a walker. The old woman enters the diner and is greeted by Charlie, and orders a nearly raw steak. Charlie returns with the steak and the old lady asks her about her baby. After a few more questions, the woman says that the baby will burn, and that they will all burn. The woman lunges at Howard and takes a bite right out of the side of his neck, leaving him to bleed out on the floor. The old woman transforms and Percy throws a frying pan right at her head, knocking her out. However, the woman gets back up and crawls right up the ceiling. Bob grabs his rifle and tries to shoot her, but she's too fast, and knocks him out. Jeep grabs the fallen shotgun and tries to shoot her, but just can't bring himself to do it. The possessed woman is about to lunge at Jeep, but is brought down by several gunshots not from Jeep, but from Kyle, who was carrying a handgun. They decide to put Howard in the one remaining car and drive him to the next town for help. As they drive, Audrey notices a strange cloud in the distance. The cloud seems to be moving, and becomes evident that it's not a cloud, but a massive swarm of flies. Back at the diner, Bob and Jeep hear a car approach and go outside to see the others returning and running back into the diner to avoid the flies. Bob and Jeep wrap up the possessed woman's corpse and take her outside. Bob spots a police cruiser out in the distance and greets it gladly, thinking that help has finally arrived. Except that it isn't a cop, but Michael. Realizing that it's not a cop, Bob points his gun at Michael and demands to see his teeth. Michael complies, and grabs the gun from Bob and points it at him. Before things can escalate any further, Michael senses something and gives the gun back to Bob. Inside the diner, he says that they will be here soon and that they must defend themselves. As the sun sets, the men head up to the roof to watch for any incoming help, attackers. Soon, they hear a sound from the distance, and it's an ice cream truck. The ice cream man gets out of the truck and is obviously possessed. Suddenly, the ice cream man's arms and legs lengthen grotesquely, and he lets off an inhuman scream before charging at the diner. Michael takes aim and guns it down, and tells the others that more are coming. A large number of cars come over the horizon, all filled with possessed people. As the cars approach, Michael orders the others to fire, causing many cars to swerve, crash, and explode. Michael whips out a rocket launcher and take out a large number of them. Michael yells to the others to keep the possessed from reaching the diner, but there are just too many of them. Downstairs, one of the possessed crashes through the window and grabs Howard, attempting to drag him out. Charlie tries to help Sandra and Audrey, but she is almost taken herself by one of the possessed until Michael slices off the man's hand and fights them off with a lot of bullets. The first wave is over, but Howard was taken. Everyone is scared and confused until Michael reveals that he is there to protect Charlie and her unborn child, and that the possessed that attacked them were not demons, but angels sent by God. Michael tells them that the key to humanity's survival is Charlie's baby, and they must protect her until the child is born. Charlie says that the child is not supposed to be born yet, but realizes that it will happen soon anyway. The current date in the film is December 24th. Down in the basement, Jeep and Michael are working to fortify the diner, and Jeep asks Michael why he is helping them, especially if it means violating heaven's orders. Michael tells Jeep that when God first made man, he was the first to bow down before them, because, like God, he loved humanity. And even though God has given up on them, Michael has not. As morning approaches, Sandra wakes up and hears her husband's voice. She follows the voice to the window at the rear office and sees that Howard is still alive, tied upside down to a cross. Sandra pushes the barricade aside to get to her husband, even as Audrey and Percy try to stop her. She makes it outside and it appears that Howard has large pulsing boils all over his body and is about to explode. Percy grabs Sandra just in time and pushes her back into the diner, but is covered in spray from the exploding Howard. The others arrive at the office to watch as Percy falls to the ground dead, having had his entire backside melted off by some kind of acid. The others tie Sandra to a chair until she can calm down while Audrey gives her a pill to help her calm down. Sandra blames Audrey for the mess they are in, since they were moving to another town for Audrey. Audrey is devastated. Suddenly, all the lights and power come back to the diner, and everyone wonders if things are better, but Michael assures them that it's not over. Up on the roof, Kyle notices a van approach the gas station. Thinking that is filled with more possessed people, Kyle aims his gun at it, but soon realizes that it's a survivor of the apocalypse and his son. The man is just trying to get some gas, but is soon surrounded by the possessed. The man doesn't see them coming until Kyle fires into the air to alert him, but it's too late. The man is killed by a car driven by the possessed and the child is taken. Kyle, thinking of his own son, jumps down and attempts to save him. However, the child was possessed as well, and bites into Kyle's neck, killing him. Audrey sees this and charges towards Kyle to save him, killing several of the possessed along the way, but running out of ammo as she reaches Kyle and manages to protect herself by locking herself inside a minivan. Inside the diner, Bob wants to go save Kyle and Audrey, but is threatened with death by Michael, who cannot risk them opening the door and letting in the possessed. Charlie confronts Michael and says that if he doesn't do something, she will. Having no choice, Michael arms up and orders them to open the door just long enough to let him inside. Michael gets outside and takes down many of the possessed, then sprays gasoline on the rest and sets them on fire and saving Audrey. However, the possessed have now turned their attention on the diner and try to get in. After a bit of a gunfight, all the possessed are killed or frightened off, except for one, the child that Kyle tried to save. The possessed child attacks Charlie and almost succeeds, but she fights him off with a dinner tray until Michael can dispose of him. However, the fight with the child triggered caused Charlie's water to break, and her child will be born soon. Michael tells everyone to leave out back, but he stays to hold back Gabriel, instructing Jeep to learn to read the instructions, and find the prophets to Jeep's confusion. Michael confronts Gabriel and asks him not to continue, to let the child live. Michael shoots at Gabriel while Gabriel takes swings at Michael with his mace and wings. Michael is injured by Gabriel's wing but manages to put him in a headlock. However, Gabriel apologizes to Michael, and then stabs himself through the chest with a spike from his mace, which impales Michael as well. He glows blue and burns up, disappears at the same time. The same tattoo-like marking that were on Michael's body appears on Jeep, the instructions he mentioned earlier. Gabriel turns and prepares to pursue the others, but walks past Bob, who is still alive, and has disconnected the gas pipes and is now attempting to light them. Before Gabriel can fly away, Bob ignites the gas, causing a massive explosion. Out on the road, Jeep, Charlie, the child, and Audrey are on their way towards one of the colony of survivors mentioned on the radio earlier. As they get closer to the colony, things seem to be going right at last, but Gabriel crashes onto the roof of the car, still trying to get to the child. After much struggling, Audrey is able to hold back Gabriel, and tells Jeep to hit the brakes, which he does, throwing both Audrey and Gabriel out of the car and crashing the car as well. A moment later, Jeep is awoken by Charlie, who survived the crash, along with the baby. However, Audrey was killed, and Gabriel is missing. The remaining three head towards the mountain range where the survivors are supposed to be, but as they climb up the mountain, Gabriel shows up again. Jeep is able to grab onto Gabriel, pushing them both off a cliff, with Gabriel breaking Jeep's fall. Gabriel doesn't want to kill Jeep, but sees that there's no choice, and pulls out his knife. Just then, a resurrected Michael comes down from heaven, back in angel form, and fights off Gabriel. Michael tells Gabriel that he was brought back because he did the right thing, that he gave God what he needed, and not what he wanted. Since he no longer has purpose, God rescinded the order. Gabriel leaves. Michael returns to heaven as well, bidding Jeep good luck. Jeep returns to Charlie and the baby, and they head towards the settlement below. Charlie, Jeep, and the baby in their car, driving off into the distance, with the back of the car full of guns. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.